Hello, my name is Madeline Friend. I'm a GCY guide, driver, advisory board member, former office worker, and most importantly, former youth participant on Grand Canyon youth programs. I'm joining you here today from my bedroom in Tacoma, Washington. And while I wish we were face to face, I wanted to get you settled in our surroundings right now. I wanted to highlight some local art I have by Flagstaff artist Ash Metelsky, Emily Kane, and some other watersheds I love up here in the Columbia Basin. Today I'm going to be sharing with you two pieces. The first is one I wrote back in March, at the beginning of the pandemic, for an online magazine called The Dust. And the second is a poem that I wrote actually a few years ago, but has coalesced really well into this moment. So, in the tradition of the literary great LeVar Burton of Reading Rainbow and LeVar Burton Reads, I'd like to invite you all to settle in and take a deep breath. This piece is titled, Now is the Time. Flagstaff, Arizona is a hub of the Grand Canyon's recreation industry. Born and raised here, it is the foundation of my career as a professional river guide. Like tens of millions of people in the United States, our livelihoods were rapidly stripped away because of repercussions of the novel coronavirus. Repercussions that could have been mitigated, but were not. COVID-19 is not a great equalizer, but a mirror to structural inequities. The novel coronavirus illuminated what Black, Indigenous, and other people of color activists and organizers have been speaking truth to power about for centuries: the isolationist and white supremacist policies that strategically guided a nation founded on stolen land. Like most hospitality jobs, the recreation industry relies on wage theft, unpaid sick leave, and unreliable schedules. Though my experience has largely been on river trips, this echoes through the guiding industry from mountains to moraines. Inaction and complicity with the status quo perpetuate established injustices. The guiding industry is set up for cishet, abled white men with generational privilege operating on land violently pillaged from indigenous peoples. White women have gained some traction by breaking our bodies and keeping our mouths largely shut, though the everyday horror of sexual harassment and assault in our workplaces persists. Black, Indigenous, and people of color face these same challenges, but are further tokenized and face racism, prejudices, and abuses that often force them out of the industry. If you are able, if you have not been left in shambles, if you have something left, I ask you to step up. I ask you to use this unprecedented moment to make big structural changes necessary for an equitable future. The guiding industry in this nation has been around for almost a century, if you like to round up your numbers and stories as most guides do. In this time of deconstruction, let us prepare for the century not with a posture of fear and scarcity, but with one of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. I can already hear refrains of, but not here, not at my company. Yes, here. Yes, your company. We have not yet interrogated our white privilege as a country or as an industry. Laying these inequities bare is not only necessary during a global catastrophe, but essential. If not now, when? What does that mean for guides? Bringing to light the unacknowledged darkness of our craft and critically examining our work. The unspoken trade-offs we accept for a structurally unjust system? Flexibility? Sure. Coolness? Sure. Cash tips? Yep. We ply our trades in cash, not as a necessary system, as the more than 8 million unbanked families in the United States do, but as a functionality of wage theft. Instead of treating COVID-19 as just another blot on a failed track record, now is the time to create holistic, just systems, from healthcare and employment to a guiding industry focused on genuine care and equality. Black, Indigenous, and people of color are already leading the movement. We coalition build through sacrificing our privilege and supporting existing groups to decolonize the outdoors. There is work to be done, work that needs to be done now. Guides know how to work hard. We just have to choose to join. Thank you. That was my piece, Now is the Time, published in The Dust Mag. You can find it at thedustmag.com. And now, for our second piece, I'd like to share a poem with you called And Then I Walk. This poem I originally started a few years ago and published it in 2019 and came back to its relevance recently. So again, I'd like to invite you to take a deep breath. And then I walk. A pendulum swings, bisecting my being, not vertically as expected, which would allow disparate halves to swirl, spinning into spirit, a rainbow sparkle. But instead it slices the air above my calves, and though it never touches, I'm unable to move. It begs my apology for the intertwining droves that I summon with my life. It begs my continued yearning and unceasing devotion. It begs my complacency. And so it swings, and then I wake, and then I walk. Thank you.